Hey folks, this is Kalani. I'm going to be talking about the Slick and Sparky encounter within the Twilight Arbor. Now this is located in the new Ether Path, so bear in mind you'll need to be level 80. Obviously if you're checking this video I assume you're having a little bit of trouble with it, or you just want to know. So, the fight revolves around 3 NPCs, all of which are damageable, all of which are targetable, and you can kill all 3 of them. I'd recommend you only kill 2 of them. Now we'll get into those in a little while. So, first up we got Slick, who loves to throw tar and oil and all the good slippery stuff. So he's a little bit of a pain. Then we've got Sparky, who just loves to set things on fire. And then we've got an ooze, who apparently shouldn't be there, but helps us out anyway, while trying to kill you. So basically the main obstacles in this encounter are that you'll get oil slicks, and these are fired from Slick himself. Basically what happens, when you get one oil slick on the floor, you'll get a debuff. Now, for every oil slick after that, you'll get a stacking debuff. Essentially, this debuff stacks to the point where it will kill your entire group if you don't manage the oil slicks. Now, the ooze, that's where this comes into play. A random player will get a Pheromone Mark. You should be familiar with that because that's how you should have done the puzzle previous to this, the fire maze puzzle. You had to get a pheromone and guide an ooze. Now the ooze will follow the pheromone marked player. That player has to guide the ooze near the oil slicks. The ooze will eat them and the debuff will be reduced. Now this is where Sparky comes into play because she'll start to set them on fire. Now interestingly enough, the wiki says that an ooze cannot eat or suck up an on fire oil slick, but I beg to differ because that we've seen it. The ooze was sucking up the fire oil slicks. Now the dangerous thing about it is that when you stand in an oil slick you'll take damage, but you also get a debuff which significantly increases the duration that burning is on you, to the point where if you don't have condition removal but you get hit by the burning, you're going to burn to death because it lasts that long. Now the main source of damage is actually the poison debuff coming from the oil slicks, so you need to get rid of those as quickly as possible. Now, a few of them, they have a few abilities which, depending on the boss, they don't really do anything. So, Slick obviously fires his oil slicks. He can use elixirs, which don't really seem to have an amazing impact on the fight, and he can also attack. So, he kind of snipes off people, but doesn't do a huge amount of damage. Now, the ooze, on the other hand, has massive attack, which is not ideal. You literally do need to kite the ooze, otherwise you're going to die. That's very important that you make sure the person with a pheromone is moving, because the ooze is going to one-shot you if you remain in melee with it. So the other thing the ooze does is explodes upon death. Now this explosion releases basically all the poison it sucked up. So you'll end up with 14, 15, 16 stacks of the poison debuff for a short duration after the ooze dies. The problem is, that's actually enough to kill you, because it's not cleansable. You'd have to heal through it, which is very difficult in Guild Wars. Sparky, on the other hand, has a grab. She'll happily drag you towards her, and she's got an AoE fire spin, which does do quite a lot of damage. Interestingly, it doesn't seem to count as projectiles for projectile destruction or reflection, which is kind of annoying, but needless to say, you can deal with it. It's not too much damage, as long as people aren't being retarded and standing right next to her, eating the entire thing. It's okay. Now, I'd recommend you go for Slick first. If you take out Slick first, you're taking out the oil patches, meaning that you no longer need the ooze, you don't have to guide it anywhere, so you can happily kite that around. Obviously, don't kill it, because that'll potentially kill your group. But I think it's easier to kill Slick first. You don't have to deal with the AoE poison debuff, and then you can have a nice attrition battle with Sparky, which always goes down a lot better if you don't have the poison. Now, when you kill one of the bosses, the other one will enrage. If you kill Slick, Sparky will attack faster and do more damage. If you kill Sparky, Slick starts to throw down 2 oil slicks instead of 1, so that debuff can stack up really quickly, which is another reason why I'd recommend to kill Sparky. No, kill Slick first and take Sparky out afterwards. It seems to work really well. All you need to do is make sure you're positioning very well. The person kiting the ooze has to do their job, otherwise you're going to die to the poison stacks, and nuke them down as quickly as possible. DPS is key in this encounter, I'd say. Apart from that, it's literally execution. The tactics are fairly simple. Kite the ooze into the oil slicks, take as little damage as possible, and nuke one down and then nuke the other down. Fairly simple, but the execution can be a little awkward, mainly because it's unforgiving. It's very, very difficult to get back into this fight if you end up with heavy stacks of the poison. Remember that wart fields are amazing here, especially wart fields with blast finishes. That give a nice amount of AoE healing and keep you all alive. So practice, 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 and if things aren't working well for you, try to have a look at your group composition and see what you can do. Do you have an insane amount of damage? Brilliant, nuke down a target. Do you have a lot of sustain? Maybe taking down Sparki first is an option, because there is more damage coming out from Sparki than Slick, unless you get to a ridiculous amount of poison stacks. If you can deal with the poison stacks from killing the ooze, maybe that's an idea. Just try things out, but this is the way that I'd recommend you try, at least first. So thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I'll see you next time.